Mm, Dear students, uh, welcome to the next chapter of cloud computing and its application, that is chapter number 5, concurrent computing. In this particular chapter, we are going to cover the topics such as introducing parallelism for single machine computation, programming application with threads. In programming applications with threads, there are again three subtopics. So the first subtopic is what is a thread. Second subtopic is thread and APIs, application programming interfaces. And then third topic subtopic is techniques for parallel computation with uh, threads. Next, third subtopic we will be discussing is about multi-threading with Aneka. So in this particular, again we have two subtopics. So the first subtopic explains us introducing the thread programming model, and then second one is about Aneka thread versus common threads. Okay. Let's begin with this particular chapter. So before diving into this particular chapter, so I want to explain you that I want you all to recall some of the operating system concepts before getting into this particular chapter, that is about I hope you all know about threads and system calls, and then semaphores. So I hope you all remember all those operating system techniques which you had learned in third semester of your uh, third semester. I hope you all can recall it. Okay, so keeping that operating system concepts in your mind, we will begin this particular chapter. So the first one is about introducing parallelism for single machine computation. So before getting into that, we need to know about what is parallelism. So you all know parallelism is nothing but simultaneously taking two particular chapters at in a single time. So parallel is nothing but you all have all understood taking two works or taking two responsibility parallelly. When parallelly means taking everything together. So now let's get into it. What is parallelism? Definition of this particular parallelism is performing multiple tasks simultaneously to improve performance. So the history of this particular thing begins in 1960s with paragraph D825, first MMID multiprocessors. So what was why it got begun? Because in order to increase the computation speed and efficiency. And then this is all this is the basic thing before getting into thing. So parallelism, why it became necessary? Obviously parallelism is necessary when we want performance to be performance is the greatest thing which thing to thing we need in the computer operating systems. Obviously we need this particular concept, basic concept, as parallelism. And the parallelism nothing about multitasking all the things at the same time. So why so next question, now we learned about what is parallelism. The next question arises, what was its need of having parallelism? So earlier you all know mainframe computers used to be there. So in order to perform addition task, it used to take hours together. So with the evolution of the computer and with the evolution of operating systems and all, so we these all the techniques actually came into the existence. Okay, so earlier speed up achieved by increasing clock frequency. So frequency scaling used to be there and all, but increasing in the frequency resulted in more power, heat generation, and cost efficient it was. So in that with the evolution in 2004, Intel people came up with a multi-core design actually, wherein which this frequency scaling came to an existence. So this is also called as a end of frequency scaling area and starting of the multi-core computing concepts. Now we have octa-core and all, with respect to our smartphones, or with respect to our laptops and all. When an individual tries to when he goes to purchase for any of the laptop or a system, obviously he or she will keep in his mind about buying a latest generation of your processor. Am I right? Why so? Because the recent generation processor will cope up with the whatever the multitasking concepts, or else whatever the frequency it can give when we are dealing with n number of other technical concepts. Just like the the recent generation processor help us in solving many computational problems which are involved in machine learning concepts, and which are involved in deep learning, and then which are involved in IoT sensing and all. So hence, obviously he or she will go and go with the decision of buying the recent generation of the processor. So next, this particular slides explains about how many what are the kinds or what are the forms of parallelism we are discussing here. So here there are in this particular forms of parallelism, we are going to discuss about two types. The first one is about multiprocessing, and the second one is multi-threading. So multiprocessing is nothing but multiple processor execute different programs. So multiple processors are there, so that is what multiple processor is nothing but cores. So we talk about cores here, multi-core concepts or multiprocessor. Obviously each core will be executing different kinds of programs. So example, two CPU in one machine. Next type of parallelism is about multi-threading. So in multi-threading, the multi-threading concept execute in one single machine or one single computer, you can execute different or the same kind of programs. So example for this they have taken is about web browser loading pages with ads simultaneously. So this is actually the process of evolution over the period of time. So next, moving on to the next one is about multi-processing architectures. Okay, so multi-processing architectures, in this particular, we are going to discuss about uh, two major kinds of multi-processing architecture. One is symmetric, and another one is asymmetric. So in asymmetric multiprocessing, different processors are actually involved and with different functions. So example for this is actually a graphical processing unit, and then combination of graphical processing unit and a central processing unit. So symmetric processing ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ, so it is going to process a symmetric, a same kind of processes, or it will be sharing identical processes at the same workload. So example, multi-core CPUs, that is about your dual core, quad core and all. So next kind of multiprocessor architecture, which is little different, non-uniform memory access, NUMA. So here in this particular processors share the memory with the different access style. Next, clustered multiprocessing, multiple computers work together on one particular system. So this particular diagram explains about the whatever we discussed, the different kinds of multiprocessing architecture. So whatever you're seeing here. Okay, so whatever you're seeing here with the asymmetric multiprocessing system, a single CPU will be there, and purpose, wherein it's already it will be constantly in interaction with specialized processing unit, that is the processing unit. So in this particular asymmetric process system, different processes are involved. So after discussing about multiprocessing architecture, moving on to the evolution of multi-core processor actually. So this is a diagram of multi-core architecture. Here you can see in the baseline core 1, core 2 up to core n are there. Each cores have a dedicated cache L1 of their own, and then all these L1 are connected through a single channel through a cache L2. In turn, this L2 will be shared with the main memory. So this whole diagram is a CPU single die or a single line, wherein which it will be processing for the same thing. So here, GPU is an example for as asymmetric process, wherein which it is designed for a specific task. Okay, next, multi-core CPUs are example for a symmetric process. Here in this shared memory design, each core is owning its own cache called as L1, and the common L2 cache is shared via a bus or a channel, as I said, in connection with the L2, and then again cache L2 will be in the connection with the main memory of the system. So next is about what is the role of operating system in parallelism. So here, obviously, this is the place wherein which you have to recall about your operating system concepts here actually. So here, obviously, you all know about process and threads concepts. So wherein which multi-processing and multi-threading concepts all will be involved here. So this is one illusion diagram which I had generated with the help of AI. Actually, in this particular, there is two different diagram wherein which one is multitasking and another one about multitasking. Okay, so here in multitasking, wherever we are talking about this, an operating system manages the process. Like operating system is involved in creating a space or allocating the resource or allocating and scheduling the timer with different process called as process A, process B, and then process C. Next, coming to the next diagram, wherein which it is talking about multi-threading concepts, wherein which operating system manages the threads within a process. So here you can see a thread is there, a single process, multiple threads will be there, networks will be there, and then JavaScript engine, all will be there, like shared resource and the memory will be there. So each internal a scheduler will be there. Here in this multi-threading concepts, actually in a single process, how much ever the threads you can create actually. So this is about the role of operating system providing parallelism. OS provide abstractions for process. A process, what is a process again? An executing program. Now, a thread, a single sequence of execution. Excuse me. So again, a thread is a single sequence of execution within a process. Okay, a process may have multiple threads. Keep it in your mind, my dear students. Next, OS manages both a multitasking process and a multi-threads within a process. Okay. Next, moving on to the next topic is about programming applications with threads. Okay, so here after making the difference or making out the differences between processes and threads, so we have obviously the threads will be very helpful in giving us the uh, a better efficiency of executing our programs with respect to operating system, that all you have learned in operating system. Next one is about programming application with respect to threads. Why we are going to choose threads in our applications? Okay, why? Because it is going to perform many tasks at a once. So that is why we are choosing the thread concepts here. So here there are two ways of threads we have involved here. The one is implicit threading and the second one is explicit threading. So what is implicit threading? The thread which is managed by the system or API, application programming interface, that is about GUI rendering, garbage collection, and etc. What is explicit threading? So here in explicit threading, developers create threads manually for tasks like input output operations, long computations, and background jobs. Okay, so this is how why we are going to use threads in applications. So next one is about next question rises using threads in our application is why threads. So keeping the applications very responsive, because asynchronous environment is involved here. Improving throughput on multi-core processes. Okay, so all these are actually involved here. It enables the parallelism in algorithmic tasks and all. So hence we are going with all these keeping in the constraints, we have decided to go with the threading concepts in order to execute the things. So this is this is one of the understandable diagram which was created for the betterment understanding of you all. So here, so why we are going to use thread in our application, you can see there are two kind of like threading concepts we have taken. So one is implicit and another one is explicit. So implicit is wherein which a system is involved. In implicit, in explicit, a developer is involved actually here. Okay, so with respect to threads, any application will be there. So the main application will create different threads, that is worker thread, input output thread, and computation threads, all these. So different threads are involved to run a main program here. So what are the key benefits of having the threads? One is about obviously the efficiency will be given. So hence this is one such illustrative diagram for your better understanding. So after learning programming applications with threads, so here you can just recall with your the flow. So why we are going to use thread in application, so why threads. Okay, after understanding these, now we are going to dive into the concept of what is a thread. Okay, so the definition of a thread is a single sequence of instructions within a process, a single sequence of instructions within a process. So that is called as a thread. So what is the characteristics of a thread? So here there are three major characteristics we have involved here for thread. Each process has at least one main thread. Okay, what that is one basic characteristic. The next characteristic is threads in the same process share the same memory and the resources. Okay, so in the previous diagram we have actually explained how the threads or how the memory is shared in this particular environment. Okay, so next one, operating system treats or threads treats threads as the smallest unit of execution. My dear students, obviously you all have, I think that you all are aware with all the basic concepts of operating system in this. Believing that you all know about operating system, you all know about operating system concepts, I'm continuing this. Okay, if you have any doubt with respect to ma'am, again we don't know about the thread and all, or the smallest unit of execution, you can just come back to me so that I'll solve your problems, any doubts regarding to operating system, or we'll have some brush up sessions with operating system concepts. So here So, with respect to this, so this is one block diagram where which it explains about how the communication will be there between the process and the threads here. So, in this, you can see here all these the whole diagram. What you're seeing here is a process. In a single process, how threads will communicate within the process is depicted here. So hence this particular diagram explains about in a process how threads will work. Okay, so here you can see every thread process is undergone by a shared memory, and then execution will be there, a main thread will be there. A main thread will be having a thread local storage, and then the instructions will be there. A thread will be created, okay, and then first thread will be created, second thread will be created, and the third thread will be created. So each thread will be having its own performance, or its own allocated problems, or its own allocated with the tasks, we can say. This is about this particular block diagram. So this is one table which was created for your better understanding. So wherein which it this particular table discriminates between process and a thread here. So before having the differentiation between the process and the thread, so we have identified some of the features wherein which, keeping those features in mind, how the process and the threads are differentiated. So the definition, with respect to the definition, a process is a running instance of a program. A thread is an execution flow inside a process. So memory is nothing but a separate with respect to memory, in a process it will be having a separate memory allocation. With respect to thread, actually, whatever the memory which is allocated to the process, which will be shared among all the threads. So overhead will be very high for process, and for the thread it will be very low. And then with respect to the communication via inter-process, so the process, so communication with the process, inter-process communications are involved. With respect to the threads, it will be having a direct shared memory. So with respect to the context switch, the processes are very slow. With respect to the threads, the context switch are very fast. Okay, so this is about the differentiation between the process and the thread. So my dear students, a question may be asked for you people: differentiate between process and thread. So these kind of questions you have already encountered in operating system subject also. The same you can expect here also. So moving on to the next concept is about thread APIs. Okay, so thread APIs is nothing but thread application programming interfaces. So in thread APIs, we are going to discuss about the POSIX standards, and then Java, and then .NET functionalities. So here, getting into it, so the basic concept which is involved in thread APIs is about the concept of all the operating system and the languages provide APIs to create and manage the threads. So what are the basic operations which is going to involve in it is about create or start or begin with the thread execution. The second one is join, wait for the thread to finish, and then terminate or abort, stop the thread, sleep, pause for a defined predefined time, synchronization, manage access to shared data. So these are actually the common operations which are involved in threading concepts. So here, a diagram was created for the better understanding of you all. So here it is actually a cycle wherein which it is involved, how a thread is created and how it is running, and what are levels which it is involving. So it will be created, running. If it is into the sleep time, it will be in the waiting period, or it will be in the blocked period. Or if it is running, if it undergoes abort, then it will be entering into the blocked state. After entering into the blocked state, it will be terminated. Or after getting into the waiting period, it also can be entering to the completed stage, or it will be entering into such things. And this is how the life cycle of a thread will be there. Okay, so the common thread operations, as I stated earlier, so create, join, terminate, and abort. So this is again about so here, we are discussing about this POSIX. So here POSIX is about here P threads. It is also called as POSIX threads, or P threads also we can call it as. So POSIX 1.c IEEE 1003.1, which was created in 1995, a standard for portable multi-threading. So basically it was it started for the Unix operating system. dear students, when you are studying about operating system, there when you are going to study about Unix concepts or Unix operating system, there this particular POSIX will come into the existence. So here, how POSIX are implemented via pthread in C or C++ languages. So my dear students, so why C and C++ are very important for any of the computer science student is nothing but, so whenever we are going to deal with any of the operating system concepts, so C or C++ plays a major role for any software engineer. So what are the functions we are involved in creating POSIX threads? Pthread create, pthread join, pthread exit. Okay, so provide synchronization. So here again, semaphore concepts, mutex, conditions, reader writer locks. I hope you all can remember with the operating system algorithms, and whenever we are discussing about the states in the operating system. So semaphores, mutex, conditions, reader writer locks. Okay, so this is about the POSIX threads again. So this particular, moving on to the next one, is about differentiating how in threading the Java and .NET plays a major role. So both has the commonalities, like it is built up on a top of virtual machine, that is about the Java virtual machine or a CLR, used to use managed thread mapped to operating system level threads. So here there is a differentiation with respect to the operation. So with respect to start, how the Java functions are called and how the C sharp or .NET functions are called. With respect to start, we are calling that, or we are naming that function as t dot start, thread dot start function with respect to .NET. So in whenever you are performing join operation, t dot join for Java, thread dot join for .NET. Sleep, thread dot sleep for Java functions, thread dot sleep for C sharp function. Next, interrupt. In whenever you are going to follow the interrupt position, so Java function will be called as t dot interrupt, and .NET will be called as thread dot interrupt. So so this is all about the concepts of introducing parallelism for a single machine computation, programming with the threads. So this is all about and programming application with respect to threads, so which are involved in Aneka platform. So before getting into that programming things, these are actually the basic needs. So what we are discussing here. So ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಮೊದಲನೇದು basic thing you have to study about operating system. Hence we have started with the concurrent computing system. For any doubts, you can come back to me. Thank you.